The bus door hissed like a snake and spat him onto Crenshaw, heat already crawling under his collar though the sun hadn't cleared the palms. The air smelled of hot tar and corner grill smoke, a sweet burn that dragged memories out by the collar. He set his boots down slow, like the street might have changed the rules while he was gone. 12 summers missing. 12 winters, too. The hood felt familiar and wrong at the same time. They used to call him Malik Stone Carter, mid-40s, broad-shouldered, prison lean, scars like faded maps, eyes that clocked X's before faces. He carried his duffel like it had bones in it, breath steady, ears open. A dirt bike screamed past, rider in a ski mask despite the heat, laughter trailing like a taunt. On the corner, somebody had painted a new mural, a boy's face in a halo of orange-blue, candles bleeding wax down milk crates. Stone paused. The name under the mural, KD, meant nothing to him, but the year did, last summer. The block's heartbeat had changed while he counted laundry pins in the yard. The old bodega sat shuttered, gate tattooed by 1,000 tags. Across the street, the car wash thumped drill beats so heavy they rattled soda cans on the sidewalk table. Kids barely old enough to shave wore their shoulders like rented armor. The asphalt radiated a low fever up through his boots. Sweet stink of spilled grape soda mixed with gasoline. A helicopter's lazy blade whispered above, still enough to stiffen spines below. Stone reached the chain-link gate to his sister's duplex. The hinges gave a dry, metallic groan as he pushed in.
Malik?
Her voice landed like a porch light flicking on. Tasha Carter appeared in the doorway. Early 40s, hair wrapped, tea wrinkled from sleep, eyes already wet. She hugged him tight enough to test ribs. He let the duffel slide down, soft thud on the porch wood.
12 years, boy. You finally walking up instead of calling collect?
Need a real sky and your fried catfish. She smacked his arm gently.
You'll get breakfast, but listen, this ain't the old block. Watch your steps.
Her glance cut to the street like she was warning it too. Inside, the duplex was clean but tired. Fan wobbling, floorboard signed, sage bundle by the window. Coffee poured black enough to judge a man. Plate of eggs slid across the table. He ate in silence, scanning the new photos on the wall. Niece, nephew, birthdays he'd missed. One frame sat face down in the corner, glass spiderwebbed. He asked, "What happened there?"
Wind,
she said too quick, then exhaled.
And a boy with a big mouth who thinks a Glock is a diploma.
Stone waited.
They call themselves the Shaw Babies now. Drill era kids. No codes, no elders. Their little prince Jinx thinks he's bulletproof because he raps into a ring light. They run the car wash lot and pitch on my block, and they like making an example.
Stone sipped, bitter, settling like a decision. Who's the mural for?
KD was 17. Wrong corner, wrong night. His mama still screams in her sleep.
A bottle clink rolled outside the window, hollow against the gutter. Stone flexed his collar's fingers, feeling the old street code etched in the skin, the code that once kept blood off porches. No work near churches, no hands on kids, respect the elders. The new boys jump fences just to film it. He asked, "Where's Ma?"
Graveyard up on Slousen. 3 summers now.
He nodded once, a soldier's salute to a ghost. A dirt bike barked again outside. Tasha's face tightened.
You hear me? Don't go introducing yourself to nobody yet. Eat, shower, lay low. I call Pastor Ray. He's still got eyes everywhere.
Pastor still over on 54th?
Yeah, and he carries too. So don't get cute.
A cracked smile flickered between them, the first sign of normal in the room. Outside, the drill bass kept rattling the soda cans on that table like dice in the cup, a warning the summer wouldn't stay quiet.
Stone's second sunrise home came with sirens fading down the boulevard and the sour tang of beer cans crushed in the gutter. He stepped outside in a clean t-shirt, air still cool before noon heat could bake the street. A block away, the car wash lot was alive already. Neon-painted dirt bikes idling, boys tossing dice on a milk crate table, drill bass punching holes in the morning calm. The neighborhood smelled of wet asphalt, last night's charcoal smoke, and the bitter ghost of spilled malt liquor. Stone adjusted the strap on his duffel, scanning like he was back on yard duty. 3 exits, 4 faces already watching him. One of them, tall, skinny, maybe 20, hoodie half unzipped to show a chrome handle, grin too wide for breakfast hours. A rust-yellow Impala creeped to the curb and coughed smoke. Big Dre, a thick man in his late 30s with a busted nose and a gold incisor, leaned out the window, eyes behind cheap shades. "Stone Carter as I live and breathe," he drawled, voice rough as gravel. "Dre," I said, nodding once. "Still driving that same bucket?" "Same bucket, new plates," he replied. "Hop in, OG. Pastor Ray want to see you." Stone hesitated, watching 2 Shaw baby kids tagging the wall with silver spray, their laughter sharp and metallic as the hiss of the can. He climbed in. The Impala smelled of old leather, menthol, and the faint copper trace of spent shells. They rolled past the mural, the boys' eyes in paint, seeming to follow them. Dre drummed the steering wheel. "Heard you home. Word is, Jinx got something to prove, so he been asking about you." My jaw flexed. "I been home 36 hours. Don't owe that kid a handshake." Dre smirked. "That's the problem. He think everybody owe him a bow." The car rattled onto 54th and slowed near Mount Olive Baptist, its brick walls tagged then scrubbed, leaving pale ghosts of letters. A hand-painted sign, "Sunday Revival, 6 p.m., hung crooked under the cross. Pastor Ray Johnson, mid-50s, barrel-chested and rolled-up sleeves, was out front stacking donated water cases. Sweat beaded his bald head even in morning breeze. "Stone Carter," the pastor boomed, voice like a brass horn, but eyes warm. He set the last water down and shook Stone's hand with a grip that carried both welcome and warning. "Good to see you breathing free," he said, "but you came home to a different street. The Shaw babies don't speak the old language." Stone looked past him at the pew-stained windows. "They don't believe in fences, huh?" Pastor Ray sighed. "They believe in phones and followers. Codes died with the last OG funeral. They want you off the board before you even set a piece down." Stone's fingers tapped his thigh, an old chess habit from the tear. "Not looking for trouble, Pastor, just looking to keep my sister's porch safe." Pastor Ray nodded slowly. "Stay sharp, then. If you hear Jinx's boys whistle twice behind you, that's not a song. And if you see a white Impala with blue rims circling, that's their hitter car." A gust pushed hot dust across the church steps. A wind chime clinked behind them like a warning bell. A crow squawked on the power line, shaking the silence. Inside the church, Stone noticed candle stubs melted onto the edge of the altar, names etched in wax with a house key: KD, K-Lo, Sway. The smell of wax and old wood mixed with bleach where somebody had scrubbed out blood months ago. "Street keeps sending kids here in coffins," Pastor Ray murmured, voice dropping lower. "Some nights I swear the wood remembers the weight." Stone felt the air grow heavier, the heat pressed closer to skin. His scars itched under the cotton sleeve, the kind of itch that comes before fists do. Pastor clapped his shoulder, breaking the spell. "Keep your shadow light, Malik, and don't let anger steer your will again." Stone managed a thin smile, but his eyes stayed on the names in wax. A dirt bike roared outside, circling the lot once before peeling off, tires throwing grit against the stained glass like dry rain. By the time Stone left the church steps, the sky had gone bright enough to sting his eyes, and the smell of burning rubber lingered like a promise that the cold summer was already heating up.
The third morning broke hotter, sunlight leaking through blinds like gold knives. Stone sat at the kitchen table, sharpening his old flip phone reflex,
thumb hitting phantom buttons while he listened to the neighborhood breathe through an open window. The air smelled of frying bacon from Tasha's pan and faint motor oil drifting in from the street. Outside, somebody's pit bull barked at shadows. A dirt bike buzzed distant like a mosquito that never lands. Tasha placed a plate in front of him. Grits, eggs, 2 slices of toast slicked with butter. Her eyes were half on him, half on her buzzing phone. "You gonna find some work, Malik, or just keep memorizing the block from this window?" Stone chewed slow, gaze fixed on the car wash lot down the street where a knot of kids argued around a speaker. "Need to know who runs what before I move," he said. Her phone chimed again. She frowned. "It's that boy Jinx live streaming again, every morning with the same nonsense, flashing rolls, pointing at the mural like he built it." She set the phone face down with a tap that rattled the spoon. A knock hit the front door, 2 quick, 1 slow. Stone's shoulders tightened, old cold. He rose without a word and opened it to find a slim teenager in a black baseball cap, ears pierced, eyes wide with nerves. "Stone Carter?" the boy asked, voice carrying both awe and warning. "I'm Lil Tone, KD's cousin. Heard you back on the block. Jinx say he wanna holla, his word not mine, over at the wash lot after dark." Stone studied him, fresh tattoo still shiny under plastic wrap on the kid's forearm. Smell of cheap cologne fighting with the gasoline on his hoodie. "You roll with them?" Stone asked. Lil Tone shifted from foot to foot. "Nah, I just cut hair at the back of the wash, trying to stay out of stuff, but they told me to bring the message or else." His eyes slid toward the street. Behind him, the breeze carried the sweet, acrid scent of spray paint. Stone nodded once. Message delivered. Tone left fast, sneakers scraping the steps as if the wood was hot. Tasha crossed her arms. "Please tell me you ain't thinking about walking over there tonight." Stone's reply was low. "Not tonight, not yet." A sudden shout outside cut across the morning, high-pitched, panicked. Both of them moved to the window. On the corner, 2 Shaw baby teens squared up over a dice roll gone bad. A crowd gathered fast, somebody's phone already raised, red recording light blinking. The smell of hot rubber wafted in as a dirt bike swung a tight circle around them, revving like a drumbeat. Tasha cursed under her breath. They treating beef like content. Stone stepped out to the porch, elbows loose, scanning the angles. He heard the rattle of dice, the scrape of sneakers on grit, the hiss of a spray can punctuating the argument. One teen shoved the other hard. A bottle fell and cracked, spilling malt liquor into the gutter where it ran dark and thin. "Yo!" Stone's voice cut through, deep enough to hush a few bystanders. Heads turned, cameras tilted toward him now. The teens froze, uncertain whether the OG was a referee or another threat. "Pick up the dice," Stone said evenly. "Ain't worth a toe tag." For a heartbeat, the whole corner held its breath. Even the pit bull went quiet. Then the smaller teens scooped the dice, muttering. The dirt bike peeled away, and the crowd's disappointment buzzed like a fly looking for fresh blood. Phones lowered, kids drifted off. Stone went back inside, jaw tight. "Different rules," he muttered. "Different game." Tasha shook her head. "You stop one fight, there'll be 3 more by sundown." Stone looked at the duffel by the door, still packed, heavy like a secret. His hand hovered over the zipper but didn't pull. Outside, the heat rose off the asphalt in shimmering waves, carrying with it the faint echo of drill bass starting up again down the block. A reminder that the street hadn't really gone quiet, just changed its tempo.
That night, the street felt wired and restless. Neon from the taco truck smeared across rain-damp asphalt like melted candy. Stone left Tasha's porch just after 9, hoodie up, walking slow enough not to look like a hunter, yet straight enough to show he wasn't prey. The air smelled of carne asada smoke, wet concrete, and faint gasoline from the car wash pumps. Somewhere, a bottle rolled under a parked Civic with a hollow knock-knock-knock that followed his steps. The car wash lot pulsed with drill beats and cheap LED lights taped to poles. The Shaw babies lounged across cars, chrome rims catching the glow, dice cups rattling, phone screens flashing as they streamed every laugh. A mural of KD faced the lot like a silent witness. Stone's eyes swept the crowd, cataloging faces, posture,
who looked him in the eye and who looked away. Lil Tone spotted him first and gave a small chin nod, nervous again, backing up toward the office door as if distance could save him. Near the center stood Jinx, 18, tall, slim in a designer puffer vest despite the warm night, diamond stud catching the floodlight. His fingers drummed the grip of a red plastic cup while his smile stayed knife-thin. Jinx looked Stone over slow, like a pawn shop buyer inspecting old steel. "OG finally came outside," he said, voice lazy but sharp on the edges. Phones tilted toward them, the bass dropped to a hum. Stone stayed still, hands visible at his sides. "Just walked across the street," he answered. Jinx smirked. "That street mine now. You been gone a dozen summers, rules changed. Ain't no elders running Crenshaw no more, it's whoever trending." A ripple of laughter rolled through his crew. Stone let it pass. The smell of spilled Hennessy mixed with tire burn and the ozone tang of a nearby bug zapper. "Kid," Stone said, voice flat as asphalt. "I ain't here to trend. I'm here to keep my sister's porch off your live stream." Jinx tilted his head, mock curious. "You threatening me or praying for me, OG?" Before Stone could answer, a dirt bike shot between them with a shriek of rubber, spraying grit. Crowd whooped, phones catching sparks from the muffler. A glass bottle shattered somewhere behind the pump bay. Lil Tone stepped forward, eyes flicking left-right. "Yo, Jinx, chill, he just got home." His voice cracked on the last word. Jinx waved him off, grin widening. "Nah, I like old history lessons." He stepped close enough that Stone could smell the peach-flavored vape cloud on his jacket. Stone didn't blink. History's still teaching. Street don't love nobody, not you, not me. For a heartbeat, even the bass seemed to fade, replaced by the ticking of the cooling engine on a parked Honda. Then one of Jinx's boys laughed too loud and broke the spell. Jinx backed up half a step, eyes narrowing. "Stay on your sister's porch, OG. Next time somebody touch my dice, they get zipped. Don't matter whose cousin." Stone gave a single nod, slow as a warning bell. He turned away first, walking back toward the gate. Behind him, the crowd's noise swelled again. Music, laughter, the hiss of another spray can tagging over an older name. Outside the lot, the street lamp buzzed and flickered, casting a strobe across the cracked sidewalk. Stone's shadow stretched long and thin, wavering with each flicker. He pulled his hood tighter, catching the distant scent of sage drifting from Tasha's window, the only clean smell in the night air. Halfway home, he heard a dirt bike tailing slow, engine throttled low, like a predator testing distance. It didn't follow past the duplex gate, just circled once, tires hissing on wet pavement, before vanishing back toward the car wash. Stone stood under the porch light a moment longer than needed, watching the street breathe in silence.
Day 6 brought a hush before a storm. Sky overcast, heat hiding under the clouds like a boxer saving strength. Tasha left early for a shift at the clinic, leaving Stone alone with the drone of a window fan and the smell of last night's coffee. He sat at the table, flipping through an old leather wallet, parsing at a cracked photo of his mother beside the duplex steps decades ago. A knock rattled the door, 3 light taps, 1 heavy. Stone opened it to find Pastor Ray holding 2 paper cups of sweet tea. "Figured you could use company," the pastor said. They sat on the porch, steam rising off the damp street. Pastor Ray spoke low. "Word on the wire. Jinx lost money on the dice pot last night and blaming Tone. That boy is in danger." Stone's knuckles tapped the porch rail like distant drums. "Tone just a kid cutting fades," he muttered. Ray nodded grimly. "It ain't about truth, it's about face. Jinx can't lose face in front of that phone." A siren wailed far off. The smell of wet asphalt sharpened as drizzle began to fall, tiny dark spots blooming on the wooden steps. The pastor finished his tea and set the cup down slow. "I keep telling you out of that life," he said, "but the life keeps knocking. Decide who you gonna be before it decides for you. Stone watched rain bead on the silver tag he'd scrubbed, but not fully erased. Ghost letters glinting under drizzle. Inside the duplex, the phone buzzed with a message he ignored, an unknown number dropping a single emoji, a skull. By nightfall, the drizzle stopped, leaving the street smelling of damp tar and rust. Stone stood by the mural again, candle flames wavering in humid air. He whispered something under his breath, not quite a prayer, not quite a threat, as thunder rolled far in the distance.
The seventh night snapped the hush. A gunshot cracked somewhere past the car wash and set dogs barking in a chain reaction chorus. Stone jerked awake on the couch. Smell of fried chicken left over in the kitchen mixing with the acrid bite of gunpowder drifting in from the street. Tasha's niece, 9-year-old Naya, peeked from the hallway, clutching a stuffed unicorn, eyes round and wet. Stone knelt beside her, voice steady. "Back to bed, baby girl. Just fireworks." But the second pop outside killed that lie. Tasha hurried in from her room, robe tied tight. "That ain't fireworks." Her voice cracked, but stayed firm as she guided Naya back down the hall. Stone stepped onto the porch, barefoot, air thick, humid, carrying the metallic scent of hot lead. On the corner, under the street lamp, a crowd gathered around a boy sitting on the curb clutching his thigh. Lil Tone. Blood seeped between his fingers, dark against damp concrete. Stone rushed over. Sneakers splashed through a shallow puddle reflecting flashing blue-red lights of an approaching cruiser. "Tone, look at me," he ordered, crouching beside him. Tone grimaced, teeth clenched. "Jinx said, I talk too much," he hissed in pain. Tasha hurried in from her room, robe tied tight. "That ain't fireworks." Her voice cracked, but stayed firm. As she guided Naya back down the hall, Stone stepped onto the porch barefoot, air thick, humid, carrying the metallic scent of hot lead. On the corner, under the street lamp, a crowd gathered around a boy sitting on the curb clutching his thigh, Lil Tone. Blood seeped between his fingers, dark against damp concrete. Stone rushed over. Sneakers splashed through a shallow puddle reflecting flashing blue-red lights of an approaching cruiser. "Tone, look at me," he ordered, crouching beside him. Jinx said, "I talk too much," he hissed in pain. Tasha hurried in from her room, robe tied tight. "That ain't fireworks." Her voice cracked, but stayed firm. As she guided Naya back down the hall, Stone stepped onto the porch, barefoot, air thick, humid, carrying the metallic scent of hot lead. On the corner, under the street lamp, a crowd gathered around a boy sitting on the curb clutching his thigh, Lil Tone. Blood seeped between his fingers, dark against damp concrete. Stone rushed over. Sneakers splashed through a shallow puddle reflecting flashing blue-red lights of an approaching cruiser. "Tone, look at me," he ordered, crouching beside him. Jinx said, "I talk too much," he hissed in pain. Tasha hurried in from her room, robe tied tight. "That ain't fireworks."
The seventh night snapped the hush. A gunshot cracked somewhere past the car wash and set dogs barking in a chain reaction chorus. Stone jerked awake on the couch. Smell of fried chicken left over in the kitchen mixing with the acrid bite of gunpowder drifting in from the street. Tasha's niece, 9-year-old Nia, peeked from the hallway, clutching a stuffed unicorn, eyes round and wet. Stone knelt beside her, voice steady. "Back to bed, baby girl. Just fireworks." But the second pop outside killed that lie. Tasha hurried in from her room, robe tied tight. "That ain't fireworks." Her voice cracked but stayed firm as she guided Nia back down the hall. Stone stepped onto the porch barefoot, air thick, humid, carrying the metallic scent of hot lead. On the corner, under the street lamp, a crowd gathered around a boy sitting on the curb, clutching his thigh, Lil Tone. Blood seeped between his fingers, dark against damp concrete. Stone rushed over. Sneakers splashed through a shallow puddle, reflecting flashing blue-red lights of an approaching cruiser. "Tone, look at me,"
he ordered, crouching beside him. Jinx said, "I talk too much," he hissed in pain. Tasha ran for towels. Stone pressed one against the wound as the siren grew louder. Neighbors whispered behind camera phones. The smell of rain-soaked iron rose stronger as blood met water in the gutter. Paramedics arrived, loading Tone onto a stretcher. The boy's hand grabbed Stone's wrist before the door shut. "OG, don't let him finish me," he whispered. Stone stood in the wash of red-blue lights as the ambulance pulled away. Jaw locked, rain-damp shirt clinging to his back. Across the street, the mural candles trembled in the breeze like they knew another name was about to join the wall. By the 8th day, Lil Tone lay in county hospital under guard, and the street buzzed with talk to Jinx' plan to finish what he started. Stone sat at the kitchen table, cleaning his mother's old wooden rosary with a damp cloth. The beads clicking softly like distant marbles. The scent of rubbing alcohol and candle wax lingered from the night before. Tasha paced near the window, phone glued to her ear. "We need police on the corner tonight," she argued with the dispatcher. Her voice rose, then fell into a weary sigh as she hung up. Said they'll monitor the situation. Monitor don't stop bullets. Stone pocketed the rosary. "I'll go see Pastor Ray. Maybe he can talk sense into Jinx." The walk to Mount Olive carried the weight of humid afternoon air. Streets smelled of sun-warmed asphalt and overripe fruit from a busted corner store crate. Pastor Ray stood by the church door, hammering a loose board back into the frame. "I hear about Tone," he said without turning. Stone nodded. They stepped inside the church. Cool air scented of incense and bleach. Stained glass windows threw fractured beams of red and green across the pews. Ray faced him squarely. "You think Jinx listens to scripture? Best I can do is offer truce on neutral ground, right here tonight." Stone raised a brow. "He'll set foot in the church?" Ray's expression hardened. "If not for God, then for the cameras. He wants the whole hood watching. I'll call his crew. You stand calm. No weapons inside these walls." Stone looked at the altar. Candle stubs with names carved in wax, and felt the weight of every rule broken since he came home. "All right," he said. "Here, tonight." Outside, thunderheads built over the skyline like dark fists, carrying the smell of charged air and coming rain. The 9th night came with thunder, shaking window panes, and the smell of ozone riding sheets of rain. Inside Mount Olive, candles flickered stubbornly against the draft sneaking under the doors. Stone waited near the altar, hoodie damp, rosary looped around his fist. Pastor Ray stood at his side, Bible closed but ready like a shield. The heavy wooden door creaked open. Jinx entered flanked by 2 crew members, sneakers squeaking on wet tile. Water dripped from his puffer vest. His phone light still glowed in his palm, red record dot winking. Jinx smirked seeing the candles. "Nice vibe, OG. Whole exorcist mood." Stone stayed silent, eyes fixed steady. Pastor Ray stepped forward. "No guns in God's house," he said, gaze moving to the crew. Reluctantly, one boy slipped a small pistol into his pocket deeper, but didn't hand it over. The air smelled of damp clothes, candle wax, and metal. Jinx circled halfway around Stone like a shock. "So you want truce?" he asked, voice echoing off wooden beams. "I want peace," Stone answered, voice low. "Kid like Tone don't need to bleed for your ego." Jinx's grin faded a fraction. "Tone talked too much." Pastor Ray raised a hand. "Enough. Street pride already fed too many graves. Here's my word. No more bodies while Tone still breathes." Lightning flashed through stained glass, throwing blue-white light across Jinx's face, making his diamond studs spark like ice. For a second, his young age showed beneath the swagger. Then, thunder cracked loud overhead. One of his crew flinched, and a phone slipped, clattering on the floor. The moment shattered. Jinx's smirk returned as armor. "Peace talk over," he muttered, backing toward the door. He left trailing rainwater across the aisle. The door banged shut behind him, candles flickering as if exhaling. Pastor Ray whispered a prayer under his breath. Stone stayed staring at the puddle where Jinx had stood, the rosary beads cutting faint half-moons into his palm.
By dawn, the storm had blown past, leaving streets washed clean but littered with palm fronds and broken glass. The mural candles had drowned out overnight, leaving dark wicks curled like question marks. Stone stood before it at sunrise, hoodie down, rosary still in hand. The air smelled of wet earth and smoke from a distant early morning food truck grill. Tasha joined him quietly, carrying 2 fresh candles. "Tone made it through surgery," she said. Relief softened her face, though her eyes stayed rimmed red. "He asked for you." Stone lit the candles, the tiny flames reflecting in the mural's painted eyes. "He's stronger than he looks," he murmured. Pastor Ray walked up the sidewalk, umbrella still dripping. He stopped beside them, voice deep but tired. "Police picked up 2 of Jinx's boys on gun charges. Could buy us some quiet, for now." Stone nodded, gaze on the street waking under new sunlight, vendors rolling carts out, kids on bikes weaving between puddles. The smell of fresh asphalt from a city patch crew mixed with grilled onions from a breakfast stand, life pressing back against the night's chaos. He finally spoke, voice low but certain. "Can't change yesterday, but maybe we can draw a new line today." Tasha slipped her hand into his. "Mama would want that." Stone managed a faint smile, the first unguarded one since stepping off the bus. He set the rosary gently on the curb below the mural, as if laying down a weapon. In the quiet that followed, the breeze carried the smell of sage from someone's porch, and for a heartbeat, Crenshaw felt almost like home again. "Lord, keep these kids from the wall. Give 'em more summers than I had," Stone whispered. From savage to saved, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching my story.